Hi guys, so today in this video I'm going to be showing you how I plan a week's worth of our lessons. I'm opening up my Rad Happy teacher planner. I'm pretty sure they called it the teacher planner, maybe it's the educator's planner. The first thing I do is I open up a fresh week, and then here at the top I circle the month and the week of school that I'm putting in here. We do not do a Monday through Friday schedule as far as homeschool here in our house. My husband works some weekends, and so on the Saturdays that he ends up being at work, we do school that day. And he happened to be home on Monday and Tuesday of this week, so those were the weekend days that we took this week because we prioritize family time when we can. So I'm starting off my week in the very beginning with Wednesday through Sunday because those are the days I need most space. And then I just kind of went in and backfilled Monday and Tuesday where the original Saturday and Sunday here was. The next thing you're going to see me doing is up here in these little boxes underneath the date spots, I kind of put in what our out of the house responsibilities may be. We're pretty busy in this season right now. Most of the work week days, we do leave the house for something or another. And so sometimes it's more than one thing a day. I do try to put it in here so that I can keep track of it all. I'm not someone who does a very good job of handling things in different places as far as scheduling, so I am not a multi-planner person, and most things that I write down in my phone to be scheduled also have to come in here and be part of my homeschool schedule planner as well. And I also apologize for the constant bonking here. I did not realize my kiddo who was sitting next to me was accidentally bonking it. So it's going to mildly shake a little bit, and I'm sorry about that. What I always start with is I kind of go down for our together things, basically like our morning time things that we do, because that's how we start our days is we do things together. And then I go down into our individual time as far as what I'm scheduling for each of the kiddos. When I write in my planner, I write out in color coding. This just works for me as far as subject by subject. So I'm starting here with our Brighter Day Press morning time, what we're doing. There is a suggested schedule for each week of what she suggests to read or use each day. I kind of use this the way that I think our family is going to be using it best. And so I like to write down what our hymn is that we're singing. And then if there's a book that we're supposed to be reading through the whole week, I will put that in for the week. And then I kind of split up the different chapters that we're reading or what we're going to be listening to as I feel like it will fit in for us. The next subject that I'm putting in here is our nature study by Treehouse Schoolhouse. And you guys, I am sorry. I'm 7 months pregnant and I am trying to record this and I am so out of breath even though I'm doing nothing but sitting here and talking. So I apologize for that. Again, I color code when I do planning. So it's always going to be red is morning time, and then orange has always been our nature study. So what I'm going to go in here and do is there's a specific theme for each week. I highlighted it this week as Weather Week, and that's because I don't always follow the schedule as far as she gives, for week 1, this topic, week 2, this topic. We had some very strange weather here in Western Washington, and so I pulled out the weather unit. I thought that it would be really fun to do that. So that's what I pulled out. I like to, if I have a bunch of books that we're going to be doing, I like to make sure that I'm reminding myself every single day that there are going to be read alouds. And so that's why I write them in so I don't forget, oh yeah, I had a book for today. Same with folk song. You'll see how I will write it on day one and then I kind of draw the line across the whole week. This reminds me to just follow what the line came from and that is applicable for that day as well. This is just what works for me. So I put down the folk song and the hand rhyme, and the poem is something that we repeat every day. This week, for weather week, she included a weather graph and a temperature graph to fill in for the week to keep track of weather. So again, that's why I wrote it in the beginning. And then I kind of dragged that line across the week to remind me that this is something that I can participate in again today. What you see me doing right now is writing in the subjects. That's what I've always used this line for, except for this year, I've kind of secured what my subject colors are, and I just kind of know what to write in for each subject. So I don't do this anymore. I was just kind of showing you guys a way to utilize this. So same with the nature study as with morning time. As you'll see for all of the subjects that we do here in our home, I don't necessarily, if there's a suggested schedule, use the suggested schedule as written. I think it's a fantastic resource that's there for families if they need it. But I go in here and I pick out the things that I think that one, we can get to or what have you. And I will put it in for the days that I think we can take care of it. Here I am doing IEW 1A structure and style. This is for my son who is a fourth grader. This curriculum also comes with a suggested schedule. It does not always work for us. This is a very long and detailed curriculum. And so I kind of break it up in a way that I think would be best for us. I try not to put a lot of reading or a heavy math or something like that on a day where there's going to be a lot of writing, because writing is just one of those subjects for at least one of our kids in our family that is not a favorite. But it's a skill we're building and we're making time for it. So I kind of split this up the way I feel like we need to. Next, this is the history curriculum we are using this year. We are still going really slow and steady here. We are doing history in lots of different ways. And so I'm not super concerned getting through the textbook, but we do get to it every week, slow and steady. This is from Knotgrass History, Our Star-Spangled Story. This is American history. And so I went in there and I looked at the units that we would be reading today, the chapters. This is an independent thing that my son reads. And then there is comprehension questions at the end of each chapter. And I go through those with him. And that I have a video on how we use this curriculum if you'd like more information. Then this is the Memoria Press supplemental literature for their American history, and we do read through some of those books as well. And so this was a Benjamin Franklin book that we are going to be starting for my son because he just finished up on the last one. So this is where we are breaking up history for the week. For math, we use a Singapore curriculum, and it's really open and go for us. So whatever is next in the curriculum is what we do next. I don't break this up or write in exactly what it is that we do. We just complete the curriculum as we open and use it. Now I am moving on to my daughter's individual curriculum. Everything that I just wrote in is my son's curriculum. We are skipping our purposeful structured science curriculum this week because I'm fitting in both of the history curriculums instead. Plus we're doing the weather curriculum through the nature study for Treehouse Schoolhouse, and that counts as science in my book. And plus based off of the books we read, we learned a whole lot. So that was a lot of fun. This is the Logic of English phonics curriculum for my daughter who's in kindergarten. This is book B. We went through book A last year. This is foundations, and this is definitely something that I break up. The further into this curriculum that we get, the lessons are heftier, and sometimes I want her to just be able to absorb what we're doing and not just pack everything in just to say we got through a lesson. So I definitely split those lessons up into a couple parts for each one. If you want a more in-depth video of how we do foundations from Logic of English for my kindergartner, I'd be happy to make a video on that for you guys. Here I am putting in the good and the beautiful math. I have an update kind of like where I've been and where we're at as far as homeschooling and curriculum right now, and I go into why we're still using the good and the beautiful math. This is also an open and go curriculum, so I don't write in exactly which lesson we're getting to every day, and actually she sometimes does 2 or maybe more a day. She tells me when she wants to do another one. We get through one though. This next curriculum is the Memoria Press Kindergarten Enrichment curriculum, and I use the literature here, and this is one that I definitely kind of have to piece out how we're going to use it. It's not structured with a schedule, at least when you just purchase the kindergarten enrichment book on its own. If you buy the full curriculum, I do believe that they do give you a suggested schedule on that, but it's not something that I buy or use. And I'm pretty sure you can purchase schedules per subject a la carte through Memoria Press, though I'm not sure if they do it for the kindergarten year. You'd have to go on there and look. But what it is there's a literature book that you go into, a piece of literature every week that you touch on. And so here we're reading this book, Frederick. It's a super sweet book. Really great pictures. So I kind of split up how we're going to be using this curriculum. We read the story and then there's a long list of comprehension questions. I usually break that up. Or we will read the story once every day. And then the first day, it's kind of just familiarizing ourselves with the story. And then I break up the comprehension questions. There's always a language lesson. Sometimes it's only something that needs to be touched on once. And sometimes it's something that you can remind them every time you're reading along with them. So this is something that I reminded myself to make a point to bring up. This next part is art, and I am purposeful about writing in art because art is not something that just comes naturally to me to try to make time for. So I bought this book of crafts. This goes along with the literature. I bought it separately so that each piece of literature also has an accompanying piece of art. I put art in on the last day of our school day so that I can make sure like everything is in there. And I also make sure I schedule in my son's art, and we do it all on the same day and have a art day. Up here, there's a space that says gratitude and also a space that says important. The way I use this is I write in what our family read aloud is going to be. This year, I bought the teaching character through literature packages. I split it up into some of the beginner books and some of the intermediate books. And so I'm putting it in here just so I can kind of keep track of for myself when I go back, which books did we read, what months were they in, that sort of thing. But I don't split it up and make sure I do certain chapters every day. I just use this space up here to record just so I can remember what we're doing. You guys, I try to keep it really straightforward here and just show you the bits and parts. I didn't show you any of the interruptions. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I love watching planning videos, and I will see you guys next time. So you saw me go through the week here. I hadn't quite filled this part in when I was recording yet. So I use this area just like all in one. I don't really use the strips here. So this is just kind of what I do that I put over here to plan for the week. That doesn't have to do with lessons really. Down here for these tasks, so this is where I put kind of like the supplemental stuff. This is the core and this is the supplemental stuff. So this is geography, logic, vocab, discipleship, and handwriting. These are just for my older kiddo. And these take place either when I'm doing our read aloud, either for the week, like our read aloud chapter book, or if I'm reading one of the books that have to do with morning time or some of the read alouds for the nature study. They are allowed to do something like quiet and they'll do handwriting and that sort of thing. But the checklist itself is for my son. So I just kind of scribble out the days that we are not going to be doing school that week. So he knows that it's just not one of the days that he chooses from. And so I just kind of have him rotate through. I do not wind up using this at all. I'm just not someone who forward plans that well or keeps track of it or anything. And I also don't have a separate planner for my things that don't have to do with school because I know myself and I know I'd get mixed up. So I know that I would definitely either forget to write in one of them and just wind up rewriting stuff in the first one, like one or the other, and then forgetting which one I put which notes in and that kind of thing. So this works for me, just having this one big planner and doing this. Up here, I mark off the days of the whole week that we're in, and then I use kind of like a tick or a slash to go through the days that we actually did school for that week.